to episode 3 of the Peacock Knits podcast, a podcast mostly about knitting, some weaving, and some dyeing. My name is Heather, and if you are a new viewer, then welcome to the podcast. And if you are a returning viewer, then welcome back. Thanks for bearing with me through my first 2 episodes. Now that we're in episode 3, I have a lot to show you, and I'm really excited about it. Today, I'm wearing my perpendicular shawl from Pom Pom Quarterly. This was spring 2016. And I love this shawl. I guess it's more of a shawlette. It took about a skein and a half, maybe. It wasn't a lot of yardage, but it is such a pretty shawl. It has kind of like a lace edging that goes down here, and it's right. I'm wearing it kind of more in the center. It's a little hard to see just because I chose, this is Madeline Tosh Light, I think, in a very dark colorway. It's basically black. So it obscures the lace work a little bit. I made this back when I wasn't 100% sure what yarns would showcase, like fancy lace work and paneling, and this one does kind of obscure it. In person, it's a little easier to see, and I do find that that is a little bit awkward to style because it's asymmetrical. When you have it laid flat, it's not a perfect triangle, so one of the tails is quite a bit longer than the other. See? But it's actually quite a versatile piece, and I wear it pretty often. So today I have the tails kind of braided just a little bit, and I have it closed up with one of my jewel fasteners. They're kind of these little screw-on fasteners for shawls for knitting, and they're fantastic. They just poke through the knitting, and you tighten them up, and they kind of hide in there. And if it does pop out, it's just a little bit of bling, but I really like it when I have something that needs to be kind of fastened down, especially for some of my shawls that are a little more awkward and I style them one way and I leave the house, and then when I arrive where I'm supposed to be, they're not looking quite as nice as they used to look, a little more disheveled. So that's what I'm currently wearing today. So what do I have today? I have some half objects. I have some works in progress. I do have one finished object, kind of. It's not knitting. It's a completely different craft. So you know what? I'll just pull that one out now because it's kind of fun. I couldn't help myself. I kept seeing these Oxford punch needles everywhere, and people making these really cute embroidery and rug pieces. So I couldn't help myself. I picked one up. This is the Oxford punch needle size 10. I picked the size 10, which is good for kind of a worsted weight. Yeah, so it looks like that. And I picked up some monk's cloth, and I made a dinosaur. It's pretty amateur looking. Definitely not my finest work, but it's my first punch needle piece. So what I did was I drew my dinosaur on the monk's cloth with whatever marker, and then I just went into my stash, found some oddballs, and I kind of came up with this Stegosaurus. I am by no means an artist. I can draw child-friendly dinosaurs, so naturally that's what I tried doing. And I learned a few things with this one. Primarily, you know, some of the yarns I chose were a little too thick, and some didn't really like to punch too easily. It just wasn't a good fit. But some of them did work out a lot better, and next time when I do an outline, I'll do the outline a little bit thicker, because with the actual loops on the rug side, some of the details got lost. But you know, for my first product, not too bad. And I think I did it in one evening. A little dinosaur. So you know, it's pretty juvenile, but I think I'll just put it in a frame and stick it up in a kid's room. I'll probably ask my 4-year-old, who's almost 5, if he'd like it first, and he can tell me if it's for him or for the baby. But anyway, cute. So that was my foray into punch needles. Maybe I'll do another one. I'm thinking about getting a finer needle for something a little bit different. So yeah, so punch needle. Let's see, I'll show you my Sunset Highway, which has been coming along nicely. I will say that I have been knitting all the things. So there has been a delay in the podcast, mostly because kids are germ factories, and my kindergartner brought home quite the stomach flu, which hit us right before March break. And before that, we all had a terrible cold. So I really feel like we've been ill all winter. But needless to say, I know that there was a delay in the podcast. So I hope you have a coffee. Do you have a coffee? I have my coffee. I'm drinking my Kicking Horse 454 as usual, which I love. So yes, I've been knitting all the things. So I've actually made quite a bit of progress on my Sunset Highway. 7 inches. I've done 7 inches of the body, which is in my, this is the Art Fill Fireworks colorway. This is what it looks like all caked up. It's kind of a cream base with speckles in mustard, navies, and pops of red, reddish orange. And I'm currently in the process of, I'm not alternating skeins for this sweater, but I am currently fading the first ball into the second ball. So that's what's happening right now. And it is making some really, really interesting color pooling. And it's turning a very similar shade of kind of a brownish mustard, similar to what my Tuscan Knits primary color was. So as you can see, it's just a perfect match. That's turning out so nice. The color pooling is my favorite. So I may live to regret the fact that I'm not alternating my skeins, because just the way this yarn is dyed up, there's a lot of irregularities between the two different skeins, but I think I made a wise choice. So we'll see what happens when it's time for the sleeves. So I'm currently fading this ball into the next one, and then I'll continue with the body, or maybe I'll stop there and then I'll start Sleeve Island just to kind of get some sleeve out of the way. I won't be doing a full sleeve either. I'm going to be doing a 3/4, and I'm still deciding if I'm going to put some of the elbow patterning from the pattern on there. But yeah, so I've done 7 inches of the body, and I am thrilled. I am just so excited to wear this sweater, and I've just been knitting it all the time. It's on my couch. I just kind of pick it up whenever I have 2 seconds. But I have been knitting, like I said, all the things. So in terms of structure for this episode, it's going to be a little bit back and forth because I don't have a lot in terms of acquisitions, but I do want to show you a little bit. This is going to be kind of the Amarok Yarns episode. My friend Deborah from France started up her own yarn line not that long ago, just a couple of months ago, and I was so excited for her. And when she showed off her first few colorways, I was just so excited. So I picked up, there were 2 colorways I was really interested in. One was Lampion and one is Mysteries, and I'll have something to show you in both of those yarns. Plus, she sent me a few of her one-of-a-kind skeins as well. And when I ordered those skeins from her, I had projects in mind for them. So when they arrived, I pretty much cast them on right away. So I have some works in progress and some hose, some half objects to share with you with those yarns. So the first one I have in my, I can't remember the name of this potter. I'll put them up on the screen so you can see them. But this is one of my favorite yarn bowls. It's bright red with kind of this, I'm not sure how good this color is coming in, but it's kind of a turquoise. I really get a kick out of this yarn bowl. Anyway, this is my Mount Pleasant. It's a pattern by Megan Nodecker. And this is Amarok Yarns in their Lampion colorway. This is her single space. And it is kind of a creamy color with bright pops of purple, orange, and kind of emerald green. And the colors have been done in a very soft fashion, so they're not harsh, but the speckles are really crisp. There you go. How does that look? So I'd say so far the prominent color coming off of here is a bit of an orange, and I'm still deciding. I did buy 2 skeins to make my Mount Pleasant, and I'm still deciding if I'm going to do the whole thing in this color or if I'm going to fade it into some other colors and do a bit of a fade there. But I love this pattern. I was really excited for a cropped tee, a cropped short-sleeved sweater, and I was really torn between Mount Pleasant and the Tegna sweater by Boylan Knitworks or Caitlin Hunter. At any rate, I decided on this one, and look at how cute this little edging is so far. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I just love it. So it's kind of got this scalloped edge. I'm currently knitting this on 3.75 millimeter or 5 US. So you do this scalloped edge on a smaller size, and then you move it up. And these are my Luca driftwood needles, and this particular tip is different than all the other ones in my set. They're a lot lighter. They're almost like a birchwood instead of the driftwood, but I love it. Yeah. So I'm currently just doing some straight knitting now with it, but I just think it's so cute. So I'm not sure yet about the color. I mean, I love the color, but I'm not sure if I want the whole sweater, the whole top to be in this color. But I think it's kind of nice. It's almost a neutral, and it looks so good with jeans. So she really had it listed as kind of a very versatile colorway, and I'm so far finding that to be true. But I could easily pick a purple for my next color, or a blue, or even an orange. So I am deciding what I'm going to do. My 2 skeins are actually quite different. One's a little bit lighter than the other one, so it may just kind of look different anyway, just because I'm using 2 skeins that are quite different. And again, I could have alternated skeins, but I didn't want to. I don't like it. I don't like alternating skeins. It just ruins the whole experience for me. I know you're supposed to, and I know people who do it, and I know people who don't do it. And generally, I find the people that don't do it, it turns out just fine. So that's what's happening. So yeah, that is my Mount Pleasant, which I'll put over here. So that's the Amarok yarns in her singles base. So now time for some hose. Half objects time. So I finished one of my monkey socks. These are my no purl monkey socks. So the pattern is by Cookie A, and the no purl version simply just means you take the monkey socks pattern, and anytime it says purl, you knit it instead. And it makes a slightly different pattern. I will say the yarn I chose does obscure the pattern quite a bit, but when I'm wearing it, when I actually put it on, it looks so cute. It looks really nice. So here's my first sock. This is Joma yarns in their Melty Crayons colorway, and I chose Knit Picks Hawthorne. I can't remember the shade of purple for the heels and the toes. See, yeah. So you can see that the pattern has it's kind of like a lace work or a cable-y kind of look. I love it. So this one turned out. I used 2.5 millimeter on these instead of 2.25, and so they're a little bit slouchier than my usual socks. But I'm still super happy with the way it turned out. So ta-da! One. And then, because I'm a silly person, and instead of deciding to just do my second monkey sock, this pattern came out, and I was so in love with this pattern that I had no choice but to cast it on, and I finished one. So these are the Kaluna socks by Becky Sorensen. Guys, have you ever seen a more beautiful sock pattern? Look at it. It has this kind of beautiful, they call it a caliper cable, I think. Caliper cable. It's a nice little feather kind of that goes up the side. And it has, this is called her, I think it's called New Horizons heel. That's part of the pattern, as well as a rounded toe. And I usually stick with a heel flap and gusset, but I did agree that this pattern, just because of everything going on with this, a heel flap I thought would really take away from it. And it's kind of hard to see on this sock blocker, but along the back is this eyelet spine. See? So when you're wearing it down the back of your foot, you have this eyelet spine that goes all the way down. So I love it. Yeah, this pattern was so beautiful. And in the original post, it was a collaboration with Tuscan Knits for the yarn. And the yarn actually looked so similar to what I had just ordered from Amarok Yarns that I said, well, that's what that's going to be. Instead, I couldn't help myself. Any of my other sock pattern plans fell to the ground. I made a couple of minor adjustments to the pattern, really not much. For this cable, you're supposed to do the repeat, I think something like 24 times. I mean, it's a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to give away too many details, but I liked the length as it was, so I stopped at 20 repeats for this cable. And then other than that, actually, that's it. I followed the rest of it. It was my first time doing the heel, this type of heel, and I will say that I didn't love it, but I also made some mistakes. So we'll see. I'm going to decide how I feel about it with the second sock, but it ends up having kind of this eyelet ridge that goes along both sides of the heel. You can see it pretty clearly here and here. One side is much messier than the other, so I must have not twisted the stitches in the right way, or whatever you were supposed to do. I must not have done it very well, and I kind of ended up with this kind of a weird hole on both sides. So I have kind of a hole right here, and I have another one on this side there. So, I mean, I could sew it up, or I'm hoping when I block it, it'll just kind of take care of itself. Oh yeah, that's the only other thing I did is I thought the spine went a little low in the original pattern because my heels get a lot of wear, so I stopped it just a couple of rows up. So my spine stops a little bit higher than my heel. But isn't that so cute? Isn't that such a nice pattern? I love it. And I know I love it so much because I'm about to cast on the second sock for it. And I have a lot of single socks. Well, not that many, like 4, 5. I think I have 5 single socks in need of a partner. But I'm going to do this one first so that I can wear them. But yeah, so this is Amarok Yarns in her Mysteries colorway. What? It's like a purple with teal. I really love it. What I really like about her yarn as well is that her sock yarn is an 85-15 blend. So it's 85% superwash merino and 15% nylon. So it is so soft. I mean, I'm used to working with a 75-25, which is, I find, a very durable, great sock yarn blend. 75-25, very happy with it. 80-20 is my favorite sock yarn blend, and I have no problems putting an 80-20 in a sweater. I think it's pretty soft. But this 85-15 is so soft. I forgot completely I was even working with a sock yarn. It felt like something that I would put in a shawl or a sweater. So I really like it. So when I ordered from her, that's what I ordered. I ordered 2 skeins for my Mount Pleasant, and I ordered this sock yarn. But then, because she spoils me and she's a lovely person and she had just launched, she sent me more. So all of these are one of a kinds that she dyed for me, and I just love them. I am ready to cast on all the things. These two are the same 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon in a couple of her one-of-a-kind colorways. She knows how much I love mustards and yellows, and so this one is a very bright, it's kind of looking a little washed out in this light that we have today. But this one is it's a yellow and gray. It's almost a grello. Gotta love a good grello. Yeah, so it's just nice, and it's got some deep, kind of dark black speckles, bits of red in there. It's got a lot of really nice detailing. So that's going to make a great pair of socks. This one is all pinks and purples. Another one of her one-of-a-kinds. And because it's so soft, I'm tempted to keep this one for a shawl, for some kind of mix and match, because it really is that soft. I mean, it's a treat for the feet because it's so soft, but I'm tempted to hang on to this one. It's just got such a lovely tonal quality, and the speckles are so crisp in the purple and pink, and that's what I actually really liked about this pattern. So if you have some really special yarn in your stash that is a nice tonal or variegated yarn with some really special speckles or some kind of really nice little detail that you don't want to get lost, this cable really showcases the yarn, because all of these little strands here are just the yarn the way it is. And because it's a cable, it's knit all the way on the inside as well. So what you have next to your skin is still your knitted stuff. I'm a little nervous that these will pull on things as I'm wearing them, but I think I'll be able to kind of get them back to where they're supposed to be. But yeah, I love that. So that's this one. The last one I'll show you, this is on her 100% superwash merino. She dyed this one, and she dyed this one as a kind of an ode to my family, or inspired by my family. I'm a mom of boys, so she kind of came up with this kind of almost a rainbow palette. It's got blues and greens and reds and a mix in there. And so it's 100% superwash merino, and I'm really excited to use that. Got a few kind of one skein projects planned, and I think this is going to be one of them. But she is so talented. She is so talented. She always had an eye for color, and I always loved seeing the projects that she was working on and the way that she put color together. And to see her store now up and running and see the beautiful things that she's coming up with, I think I'm going to be like a long time purchaser, buyer. So my monkey socks I have stored in my Crochet One Knit To project bag. This is her small sock size bag. It's got interfacing. I just love her color choices. This Tula pink bag, so cute. So I have my monkey socks in there, and I have my Kaluna socks in my madder root trundle with the bees. I do have a new pin on here. This one says, oops, Yarn Snob. Bah. Hilarious. So funny. Okay, what else? am I missing? Let's see. Oh yeah. So I scored on Kijiji. I have to show you this purchase that I made. Okay, so I scored huge on Kijiji. So sometimes, oops, sorry, that's really loud. I'll just put that over here. Sometimes things go wrong for knitters, and sometimes you just want to put your stuff in a corner and never look at it again. So that's what happened here. I got 15 skeins worth of this absolutely stunning Shibui Maai. 15 skeins. It's a chain construction, chain link construction. You know what I'm talking about. It's like a chain. So it's soft. It is so soft. What is it? 70% super baby alpaca and 30% fine merino. So this is not going in the dryer. It's probably not even going in my washing machine. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a hand wash only. One of those things where I put a big sign on it saying hand wash me. But yeah, it's in kind of, I can't remember the name of the color, caffeine. Yeah, so it's like a coffee color. So I got, for $60 I got 4 skeins. So 50 grams each, 4 skeins that are brand new, still in the skein. Then I have 11 skeins worth that are either in cakes, wound into balls, or that still need to be frogged. So she started making herself a sweater and it didn't work out for her. And she was gonna take it apart and make something else, but she just decided, you know, she was moving and she just wanted it out of her house, so she sold it to me for a song, basically. It's been taking me a while to rip it out because it's been knit. It's been knit double. So, and the texture, the stitch pattern she used. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Let me just turn my phone off. There. The stitch pattern she used is a very dense stitch pattern. And so ripping this out has been very time consuming. I did some of it myself, and then I got my friend Erin, I kind of roped her into doing some manual labor for me, but it's still totally worth it, 15 skeins worth. So I'm doing some real research into what I should make with it. So if you have any suggestions, give me a note in the down bar, or leave me a comment. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, I'd love to know. I've been doing some research. Obviously, Shibui has some recommended sweater patterns for this yarn, and one of them is lovely. So I might just do that. But this yarn will have a very, very specific weight and drape to it, and the wrong project, well, obviously, will ruin it. So that was like my favorite acquisition, one of my latest acquisitions. Okay, so how's your coffee? Did you finish it? Do you still have some coffee? Mine's getting a little cold, but that's okay. So as usual, I keep these episodes at 30 minutes or less. And so the last thing I want to mention is something I mentioned in my last episode, which is it's time for a giveaway. Now that we've hit episode 3, I can really see some awesome things in store for the next few months of this podcast. So it's time for a giveaway, something to thank you so much for sticking with me through my first couple of episodes, and as a way to say welcome to anybody who wants to join me on this adventure going forward. So I have an amazing giveaway, and I'm really excited to share it. As I've mentioned before, I buy a lot of my bags from Crochet One Knit Two. She just has the sweetest fabrics. She's a lovely person and such a talented maker. So she kindly donated some items for this giveaway. So the first thing she donated was one of her yarn baskets with a wrist strap. Now I really don't want to take it out of this package, and I really just want to keep it so fresh and clean for whoever gets it, but I'll show you one of mine. I've showed this before, but this is one of her yarn baskets, one of her little yarn cake baskets. It perfectly holds a skein of yarn, a cake, or a ball. It's perfectly sized to hold one, and I can throw this in my purse or in my larger yarn bag. It's perfect for those small projects, and I think that they are adorable. They have a snap closure, so you can snap them closed even while you're knitting, and the yarn will feed out. And they do have interfacing, so they're quite sturdy, and they're just adorable. She is also just so amazing that she donated some minis from her own collection for this giveaway. Some little minis. And she also sent over some stitch markers and a progress keeper. So thank you so much for those. I've also included from Amarok Yarns a skein of her 8515 sock yarn. So this is one of her one-of-a-kind colorways. This one is a blend of purples and greens. It is really, really pretty. And she had originally sent this over for me, but I love her yarn so much, and I really want to support her as an artist, and I just have to share it with people because it is a beautiful base, and her workmanship is awesome. So a skein of yarn in there. I'm including a Knit Picks fixed circular. It's a US size 1, 2.5 millimeter, 32 inches, perfect for magic loop if you are making some socks or something else where you need a 2.5 millimeter needle. I really do like Knit Picks fixed needles, so one of those. I'm including an Ann Bud Knits gauge ruler. When I picked one up for me, I picked one up for you guys. Doesn't really show off because it's clear, but that's good. I'm including a handful of pins from Flare Game, which my friend Brenda, hi Brenda, is such a talented flare maker. And I had asked her to make me some of these 1-inch pins, I think they're 1 inch, from vintage knitting magazines or knitting patterns that I had in my collection. So I gave her some of my magazines, and she made me a bunch of pins. So I am passing some of them on to you. So these are real, real knitting patterns from the 40s and 50s that she's cut out. One has a button band, one just has a really neat kind of knitted texture, one stripes. So I thought you could bling out your bag or whatever. Plus, I'm going to include some local chocolate. This is Hummingbird chocolate. It's local to me here in Ottawa. It's made just in Elmont, which is only about an hour away from where I live. And they just make the most delicious little chocolate bars. And they are an internationally award-winning chocolatier. So there we go. So to win this giveaway, head over to my Instagram. I'm at heather.o.connell on Instagram. I'll put it here on the screen, and I'll include a link down in the down bar where I have all the other information for this episode, all my other show notes. If you're not on Instagram, please leave a note on YouTube down below, and I will add you to the giveaway. All of the instructions for this giveaway will be on Instagram. Follow the prompt, and I am really excited to give this to one lucky viewer. Yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had a delicious coffee. I hope you enjoyed squeezing me in between whatever other activities you're doing today, or squeezing me in during your personal knitting or coffee time. If you liked this video, please give me a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I'm really looking forward to continuing with this podcast. That's about it. So I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.